So what we're going to talk about today is putting together a little bit more of a concrete plan to allow us to prepare for any market situation. I mean, how often does it happen that, we take a look at, for example, we look at the euro dollar. Euro dollar, like many euro crosses, has been going down a lot lately over the past few months. How many of us wish that we sold short the euro dollar at 125, or 130, 135, 140, 145, all the way up? Why is it now that most traders are finally realizing the euro dollar is going down a lot? Why could we not have identified this trend earlier on, and why could we not have been able to look for the sell short position here and all along the downtrending resistance? What we're going to do today is we're going to try to talk about a very simple method that we can use so we can take advantage of those times that the euro dollar goes up, having a very good idea that it's probably going to go down. And on the same note, when the euro dollar hit these very significant lows, I was short the euro dollar, but why did I not close at least some part of my trade? Why did I not take profits? Why did I not be able to take advantage? I think that's the key. I think a good trader with a concrete trading plan will have a plan that will allow him to take advantage, him or her, of course, will allow that trader to take advantage of whatever the market gives us. If the market goes up a lot, we can sell short. If the market goes down a lot, we can buy. Okay. So, and I'll try to chat this in to keep track of my thoughts here. I think step number one with anything is to identify the trends. Okay? Now, we can identify the trend 1.1 by the use of technical analysis. 1.2, fundamental analysis. Now, technical analysis is obviously our interpretation of the price charts. Fundamental analysis is our interpretation of the news. The trend is your friend. We always want to try to identify when there's a strong trend in the market and then trade only in the same direction as that trend. Now, technical analysis, and we talk a lot about this during our other webinars, is very, very simple. I mean, it's basically we're taking a look at a chart and let's erase all the lines and show you exactly how simple it can be. I like to start with a daily chart. The daily chart should go back anywhere from 6 months to a year. There's no right or wrong answer, but, we're trying to really capture what the chart's telling us. In a downtrending market, I think resistance is most important. Resistance is that higher downtrending line. And then we should try to look for a support line. I have found that when support and resistance come in a parallel fashion, that's a nice source of confirmation. So I try to look for a parallel line. Now, here we find euro dollar. It's not perfect, but it's basically there. A parallel line down to resistance euro dollar. Now, obviously, we want to trade in the same direction as the long-term trend, which means in the case of the euro dollar, I'm only looking for a situation to sell shorts. Where am I going to sell shorts? I'm going to try to sell short as close as possible to resistance, which is over here, just below resistance. Now, again, there's no exact science to how I'm drawing these lines, just visually trying to show you what I'm looking for. Protective stops we place at a point in the chart we sincerely, realistically expect the market will not go to. So the resistance is a downtrending white line at the top. The blue line represents our entry, where ideally I'd like to sell shorts. And the red line represents our protective stops, where we believe the market will not go to. Furthermore, we can look to take profits at the lower end of the range, which will make this line green. This is our take profit level. Now, that's in a perfect world. Rarely do things happen in a perfect world, but that's essentially the type of trading philosophy that I like to use. And from a technical point of view, notice there's really no trading activity that's taking place in the middle. Now, this is an example, an extreme example, which, doesn't really exist. Between you and me, the fact of the matter is I will place trades in the middle of this range. But it's definitely going to be with this mindset where I'm going to try to sell short as close as possible to the upper end of its the swing highs, as they're called. And taking profits, I'm going to try to take profits as close as possible to the swing lows. But this is the basic approach. Technical analysis, identify the trend, always try to trade in the same direction as the long-term trend. Fundamental analysis, and let's talk a little bit more about this if we have some time today. Fundamental analysis is where we try to identify the trend, but instead of using the charts, we look at the news. Now, through this approach that we're talking about today, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment, I'm not placing trades all day. There are sometimes many days that go by that I don't place a trade. I actually missed a trade last night, but other than that, I think that was the first trade. Last night was the first trade according to the system this week. I usually place 2 or 3 trades a week, maybe a little more, a little bit less, depending on obviously the market activity. But the fundamental analysis is what I spend the rest of my time doing. When we're not placing trades, and there's just so many ways you can draw technical analysis. I mean, look, in less than 60 seconds, we basically summed up the euro-dollar daily charts. Now, of course, we can go to a 4-hour chart and look at a little bit more detail. Technical analysis should not take you very long. You draw the lines, and how often does this chart really change? It hasn't. Fundamental analysis is where I really spend the majority of my time. If the euro-dollar is going down, from a technical basis, we know that the euro-dollar is going down because the chart's going down. But from a fundamental basis, we should be able to look at the news and to say, you know what? The fundamentals in the Eurozone are much worse than they are in the U.S.